Like fantasy?
Film.
Fight! What'd you fucking say?
Fantasy.
Film fight!
I still don't get it.
Fantasy. Fight!
We take the pick of the litter.
We take it in turns.
Someone just gotta go first.
And then?
The next person.
They just go round and round.
That's what
We call it
fantasy.
fight. You win some, you lose some.
Anything can happen.
So?
Who are you going with?
Who you picking? Today.
Fantasy.
Film.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 78 of Fantasy Film Fights, the show where we take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. Today on the show, we are drafting Oscar snubs, things that weren't even put up for nomination that in hindsight we think are incredible oversights. It's going to be a fun one. With me as always, right over here, my co-host, Mr. Tony Hill. Tony, how are you doing today?
I am doing excellent. Thank you for asking. I've started a new job, and this week has been the first time that I've had a paycheck where it's just like, oh, great, I get to spend stuff that isn't just the essentials of living. And I realized I'm old, but the very first thing I bought was good bedding.
Discretionary funds are a nice thing to have. That is for damn sure. But yes, congrats on the new gig. Glad it seems to be going okay so far, decently.
Yeah, it's going well. I just have to be nice to older ladies. So sorry for my life.
Always a task when it comes to Tony. All right, we got a great panel joining us for today's topic, and let me introduce them all right over here. Returning guest, Mr. Scott Harvey. Scott, how goes it?
It goes. Thank you for having me again. I was saying this beforehand, but I was on the episode last year when you guys did roles that should have been nominated. And obviously all of those are eligible again. But I think for my picks tonight, I want to talk more about maybe some of the technical categories, maybe some directors, maybe some movies like in the best picture category, and mix it up a little bit. But I'm excited to see what everyone comes up with, because Lord knows I'm disappointed with the Oscars every single year. So there's stuff you can pick from every single year.
Pretty much. All right. Down over here in the corner, joining us, Mr. Henry Sanchez. Henry, how are you doing?
Exhausted. Long day of work, as we pretty much all are on the same page on that. But this is a fun topic. Potential to get some weird ones, some oh, that one, or really that one. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, that tends to happen. I'll be interested to see what you come up with. And then last but certainly not least, because he is the most frequent guest on our show, one of the members of the Fan League 4, alongside me in the movie trivia Schmodown, Mr. Amaru Moses. Rue, how you doing, sir?
Feeling good. I'm trying to keep the streak alive and keep the most times on this show. So I love it. First day back with kids in school, which didn't go as bad as we always think it's going to be. So that's good.
Yeah, very, very good. Well, congrats on returning to the classroom and whatnot. But we got to get this show on the road. In order to do that, we got to figure out draft order. Tony, how are we doing that?
Yep. So I've got a question here with a numerical answer. Everyone's going to have a go at answering it. Whoever gets closest gets to pick the order. So who goes first, who gets stuck in the middle, and who takes it in the rear.
And I'm drafting along today.
She is indeed. I've now realized that because we've now dropped it down to 4 people, there's no person stuck in the very middle anymore.
Nope.
So
It's true.
we get to be nicer. Okay. So the question we have. So one of the big thing about the Oscars, obviously the Oscar speeches. Probably the most memorable one from this year was Daniel Kaluuya's. According to the Oscars website and their transcript, how many words did he say in his speech?
I knew that's where you were going.
Okie dokie.
This, of course, being the speech where he talked about his parents having sex.
Mm-hmm. Let's say.
Yeah. But just to quickly say, for anyone that's just joining us, the topic is Oscar snubs. Anything that wasn't nominated is up for grabs. And whilst I think everyone's got their answer, I was about to say the topic, we should say the topics for next month are going to be released hopefully end of this week. We're off next week because someone's got something to do. But we'll be back.
It's my fault.
We'll be back triumphantly in 2 weeks. All right, I think everyone's got an answer, so we will go to the person eating first. Rue.
726.
Henry.
Knicks fans stick together. 777. Pretty close.
Nearly devil. Scott.
I guess I took like the $1 approach. I said this is Sparta 300.
And Peggy.
And I'm right in between y'all. Also a type of blue jeans. I went 501.
Do maths. Okay.
I was
So
in
the
math
person
class
off-
today, so do you need any help?
The person 85 off. Peggy. The correct answer.
Oh!
582.
Nice. All right. What to do here? You know what? Since he's my boy in the Schmodown, Rue, you can go first. I'm gonna put Henry second, Scott third, and me in the rear at the turn.
So Rube,
All
Henry,
right.
Scott, Peggy.
Mm-hmm. Make Scott wait a while.
Dang, I got the
So-
second pick. I can't go Christian McCaffrey. Oh wait, that's not this draft.
No, which I have another one up tonight.
I got one Saturday.
Oh,
Got mine
yeah, I
next
got a couple
Saturday.
coming up as well.
All right. So,
I've already failed my football draft. I accidentally picked up Teddy Bridgewater because I wasn't paying attention. So,
he was declared the starter for Denver, so you never know.
yeah, but he's playing for fucking Denver. I might as well have just chosen a giant shoe.
I don't know. Denver might surprise some people. Anyways, that is not the topic at hand tonight. Tonight we're doing Oscar snubs. Rue, you are officially on the clock. What is the first overall draft pick for Oscar snubs?
All right, so this is recency bias for me in terms of a movie I have watched. And the snub is not a movie I've watched recently. It's just another movie I've watched that I had never seen, and I consider to be a pretty overrated film called Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Why is that overrated? And Malcolm X was not even nominated for Best Picture. How in the world is the somewhat boring, don't really care about any of the characters? You may hear me debate the exact opposite on another channel fairly soon, but it doesn't matter. Malcolm X is a damn masterpiece, and it's not nominated for Best Picture, and Unforgiven wins. Yeah, this is my first thing I thought of. Second thing I thought of. I have another one. But we'll get to that down the road.
Yeah.
Malcolm X needed to be at least nominated for Best Picture, and it didn't.
I have a feeling Spike Lee joints will come up in one way, shape, or form throughout this draft. I'm thinking just because it comes up a few places on my draft board. Now, was it on you guys' draft boards?
Not this one specifically. I will say I do like the movie quite a bit. I do think it's probably a little bit long and uneven. This was 92 as well, which I'm not recollecting exactly off of the top of my head what all was nominated, but to my memory was a pretty good year. So I don't know how big of a snub I think it is in the Best Picture category. I would say though, it is kind of crazy that Denzel, like he has won for Training Day and Glory, which, you know, obviously he's good in both movies, but like if we're talking about the best Denzel performances, I don't know if either of those crack the top 5, and Malcolm X certainly does. So it might be number 1, in fact. So yeah, that is where I would look at the snub, maybe, although I believe he was nominated.
He was nominated.
He was.
Yeah. Just the fact that he didn't win, more so than the movie not getting nominated, just for, like I said.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but we're going not nominated. So
Yeah.
Sure,
that
of
would
course.
Easily, if he wouldn't have got nominated for that would have been easily number 1.
Denzel
Yeah.
lost that year to Al Pacino finally getting his Oscar for, of course, his greatest film of all time, Stand Up for Woman.
Of course.
Great ass. No, I think like Denzel Washington, he was like born to play that role. He looks so much like Malcolm X in that movie. He was just at the right age, right time, right talent level. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. So it's a solid selection for the first overall pick.
Just quickly, what was also nominated? It was The Crying Game, A Few Good Men, Howard's End, Stand Up for Woman, and the winner, Unforgiven. So,
Well, there's one movie I would definitely wouldn't take out of there, but
oh, yeah, I think
I'm
the
with
only
you
one,
on that.
okay.
Howard's End, I think you could have replaced it with it very easily. It's very much like British period piece number 58.
Merchant Ivory stuff always got nominated though in the 90s. It seems like.
good for
Oh
sure.
yeah, it was just a room with it was the film after A Room with a View from James Avery, and so it was like, oh yeah, we'll just put him in, it'll be great.
Yeah, but you got to think of the demographics of the Academy at that time wasn't really a very inclusive voting crew, to say the least. But anyways,
Small
Malcolm
circle.
X for Best Picture, first one off the board. Henry, over to you. What you got?
All right. Well, I want to also start with Best Picture, and I don't want to risk Rue taking it, so I'm going to Blind Spotting. I don't know how it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, especially given that everything else that was nominated that year, it just fits in the scope of the message that they're really trying to like emphasize. And, you know, especially with Green Book winning and Blind Spotting not being nominated, the irony in there, I don't know. Blind Spotting is a fantastic movie. Me and Rue go at great lengths to talk about it as much as possible, and I wasn't risking Rue snatching this from me, even though I have another pick before he's even back. Wasn't even risking it. So Blind Spotting is absolutely my very first pick.
Yeah, I know that's gotta hurt, Rue. Not have that on the
I'm okay.
board.
I'm okay. This was on my list, but when I saw Henry was in it, I was like, you know what? If he doesn't do it, it'll come back to one of us two. So I'm perfectly fine with it. And Malcolm X just came in my head even more glaringly. But this is an absolute great pick because it is my favorite film of that year. It's one of my favorite films ever.
It's in my top 10, so I love that movie.
Yeah, the television show is just as good and continues the story. Go watch it if you can on Stars. It's amazing. I also just did a review on Bite Size Breakdown. It just came out today, so go check that out too.
Hey, look at that.
Shameless orange. So, just good. Oh, sorry, guys, got.
Oh, I was just going to say, sadly, I still haven't seen this yet, despite the hype for it. However, I am willing to bet that it is far superior to at least 3 of the films nominated in 2018, because Green Book, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Vice are all trash fires, in my opinion. So, yeah.
And Roma.
Tony, careful. You're going to catch these hands.
Roma's just boring. It's not bad. It's just boring.
Yeah,
it's neither of those things.
There's a better movie about waves a year later or 2 years. Yeah, so.
All right. Blind Spotting off the board. Scott, what are you taking for your first overall pick?
Let's keep it going with Best Picture, and let's keep it going with the Spike Lee joints. I mean, I think it's absolutely insane. I had to, like, when I was going through them again the other day, I had to just like scroll on IMDb like 5 different times just to make sure. Like, it wasn't Do the Right Thing was not nominated for Best Picture. How is that possible? Because I think this is one of the greatest movies of all time. Objectively speaking, as much as any of us can actually be objective about this sort of thing. I think this is such a powerful movie that is both incredibly impactful, but also very fun to watch. Like, this is like a hangout movie for 75% of the movie. But the thematic thrust of the movie is there from the very beginning. You see the hate being spewed really from everyone in the movie. Every character has some sort of perspective on the situation that Spike Lee feels like there's too much hate. And naturally what we see over the course of the movie is all of that festering and eventually explodes in sort of a inevitable way. And there's just so many moments and characters that I love in this movie. I really like there's a scene that always sticks out to me when Bugging Out and Mookie's sister, I can't remember what her name is, but when they're in a conversation on the street, and they're kind of disagreeing about the best way to go about protesting what's going on with Sal's Pizzeria. And Mookie's sister is kind of more like, I want to take the peaceful approach, and Bugging Out is obviously like, no, we need to get in their face or whatever. And they have a little bit of a disagreement, and then they just stop and they're like, but I still love you. And like, that to me is like, that's how we need to view these disagreements in today's terms, because that sort of conversation is still going on. And I think it could be a very empowering movie if you look at it through the right lens. It's very sad at times, but like I said, it's also fun to watch. And just one of the best movies ever about race relations, and just one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, I didn't have this on my list because I didn't realize it had not been nominated. Honestly,
I know, right? It's insane.
Did anybody else have this one on their list?
No, Do the Right Thing's one of those where kind of what we were talking about beforehand, where I was like, it's talked about a lot for the snubs, and I just knew it either had gotten its love before being mentioned or it'll get brought up. So it's one of those where I just saved it. But Do the Right Thing's a fantastic movie. Me and my buddy, we have this thing where we love films where the world feels lived in. The fact that you just see everyone sweating and they're just struggling, especially after the day I went through today, you just really feel that. And then you can just tell that the tension just builds and builds as the day goes on, just going through all that. And that's what I love, because it just, the atmosphere is very impactful in that film, and obviously the story. And then Radio Raheem, love hate. I love that call back to In the Night of the Hunter.
This movie will come up later.
Fair.
That's basically
So
interesting.
Just quickly, the Big Picture has done a miniseries called Roger and Jean, which is fantastic about the life and time of Roger Ebert. They tell the story about Roger Ebert boycotting Cannes Film Festival because Do the Right Thing didn't win the Palme d'Or, to the point where Spike Lee had to write him a letter giving him permission to come back to the Cannes Film Festival because he was that angry. So it's just
It was fresh. It was fresh in my mind after listening to that exact episode a couple weeks ago.
Roger Ebert was a G.
Oh, he really was.
They were both.
Him and Siskel, yeah. Listen to the whole podcast series. It's very good.
Chicago. Just saying.
Facts.
Chicago. All right, over to me, huh? All right, if everyone's going Best Picture in the first round, I might as well do the same, even though that wouldn't have been my first overall pick. But I'm just gonna keep with the theme. I know.
So easily manipulated. So it's fine.
I know, that's true. This is true. All right, so the 1998 Oscars, we had for Best Picture, we had As Good as It Gets, Good Will Hunting, Titanic, LA Confidential, and The Full Monty. I would argue that you need to take The Full Monty out. I'm sorry, Tony. I know you love that movie. And I would replace it with Boogie Nights. I think Boogie Nights should have gotten a Best Picture nod that year. So that is my pick for my first overall one. I'm not the hugest Paul Thomas Anderson fan, but that movie is so fantastic. John Cheadle knocks his role out of the park. William H. Macy is one of my favorite parts of that movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Come on now. You can point any which way, and there's a fantastic role that's just being portrayed, and it's a shame that it wasn't nominated. So that is my first overall pick. What say you, panel?
I've never seen it.
Really?
That's
Still have not seen it.
Okay.
Paul Thomas Anderson's my boy, and Boogie Nights. It's one of those where it's a top tier movie for me as a whole, but it's not my favorite of his movies. You know what I mean? Because that's just how much I love his filmography. And Mark Wahlberg, people, is he good at acting? Is he playing a good? I don't know. It's tough to say, but that film's fantastic. And there's a lot of things, tracking shots where he takes some Goodfellas and stuff like that, where PTA he's got a sense of style, and you just love it. And 70s, it's fun. 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah, this has got to be like the most well-paced movie ever. Like this movie's like 150 minutes, and like you feels like it's over in 5 minutes.
It covers how many decades?
I know, and it's just like last time I watched it, I was just amazed by like how quickly it goes by, because it's just so entertaining to watch. Again, not the most uplifting movie probably in the end, but it's one of my favorite movies too. Like I can't fault this pick at all. And As Good as It Gets. Let's be honest here. That's the film which needs to be.
That's fine. That's
it's
fine.
not good.
I'm actually okay with either Full Monty or that one. Go on.
But this is my favorite PTA movie, and that's saying something because I do like quite a lot of his. But yeah, excellent pick, Peggy.
And excellent soundtrack. Also, I might as well just add. Just got to throw that in there because
the scene with Alfred Molina
and Jesse's girl. Oh yeah, like we'll make you look at that song.
Anytime I hear firecrackers like that,
yeah,
that makes me remember.
It so shocks me, but it's his second film. It's like.
So much confidence.
Yeah, it's just like I'm going to do a film about the porn industry as my second film ever, and it's going to be one of the best films of all time. Just like, okay,
you could say he went balls out on that film.
But I'm pumped. But all right, Boogie Nights closes out round one. Tony, for those who joined us late, let's recap how round one is gone.
Absolutely. All right. So Rue went first this round. He went with Malcolm X, Best Picture. Henry went second with Blind Spotting. Scott went Do the Right Thing. And Peggy went Boogie Nights, all for Best Picture.
All right, so I'm going to switch it up for round two.
New trend.
Do I go score or supporting actor? What say you, panel? Should I go score or supporting actor?
Score.
Let's go score. Yeah.
Go supporting
Yeah,
actor.
like Scott said, no, enough actors, performances got shouted out.
Okay. But which of these two scores? You know what? I'll just go.
I have two scores too.
Okay. I've actually got a couple, but that's fine. I've got a few on there. I think the most egregious. It's just I feel weird picking this one because I've technically never actually seen the movie that the original score is from, but it is referenced in so many other movies. The fact that it wasn't even nominated, considering and R.I.P. Ennio Morricone, but that you were a fantastic composer. I'm going with the theme to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly because that I can't whistle right now. The do do do.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
thank you. I can't do it right now. Yeah, it is so iconic and it's used everywhere. And the fact that it wasn't even nominated just shocks me. So that's my second overall pick.
Fun fact: that's my alarm every day that I wake up, so I hear it every single day.
Was it on your draft board though?
Maybe, maybe not. No, it's one of my favorite things of the entire. Like, I love that movie. The ending shootout's fantastic, but the score is the one where it's like, man, that's what brings me back. So yes, it was absolutely on there, but it was lower just because I talk about it all the time.
Gotcha.
The most insulting thing about it is back in those days they had 2 awards: best original score. They had best original music score and scoring of music. Marco didn't get either. But films like The Bible in the beginning got nominated instead.
Yeah, it's weird sometimes.
And Morricone did not even win until he was like half dead in
Wasn't that
2013 Django
Hateful Eight?
Unchained. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. It is Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight,
Not
yeah.
Django. Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, he's a genius. It's crazy that it took him that long to win. And yeah, the theme and the Ecstasy of Gold also from this score are like so iconic and like you said have been used in so much stuff.
For sure. All right, I'm happy with the way my team's turning out. Scott, how are you adding to your squad? What's your second pick?
Let's see. All right, I'm gonna stick with things that made Roger Ebert mad for 300. And we're gonna go with another one of my favorite movies was not nominated in a specialty film category. What my favorite documentary of all time, I think maybe the greatest documentary of all time, Hoop Dreams, was not nominated for Best Documentary Feature in 1994. And yeah, I mean, Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel were huge champions of this film. The exclusion of Hoop Dreams was so controversial from the documentary category that the executive director of the Academy actually went to the accountants and ordered them to turn over the results of the voting. And like, he wanted to look at every individual ballot and see exactly how it happened that Hoop Dreams didn't get nominated. Turns out some people just like, because it's like a 1 through 10 system, you rate the movies, and some people just went through and they put a 10 on the 5 films that they wanted, and then they put a 0 on everything else. And so it just like skewed everything off. And so that's how Hoop Dreams ended up getting screwed over. But I mean, this movie's amazing. It was kind of the original Boyhood before Boyhood of like tracing these kids' lives, over the course of 4 years. And you get so invested in it. Like you get as invested in it as if you're watching a sports movie. Plus, when you add the real life aspect into it, you realize what is on the line, what is at stake for these kids with like every single shot they take. Like this could be their ticket out, or this could be, resigning them to a life that maybe they don't want. It's
or just a life of what could have been looking back.
Yeah. It's something I try to watch every year, despite the length, and it's one of my favorites.
It's a solid pick. I didn't put any documentaries on my list, sad to say. Did anybody else have docs on theirs?
No documentaries, and I haven't seen Hoop Dreams yet. I'm pretty sure it's based out of Chicago, right?
It is.
Yeah, so it's the length and just the documentary aspects. The only reason I haven't seen it, but I technically wanted to, so I might bump it up now.
Scott, the avenue's free and clear for any doc that you have on your list.
Yeah. I'm gonna go all docs now.
Yeah, I just don't watch documentaries that much. I've seen Hoop Dreams, and Hoop Dreams is amazing, but I never think of documentaries when it comes to things. So, which apparently that's why I lost. So, because nobody really cares. Sucks.
The kids care.
I was shocked how much I enjoyed it because it's like I don't follow basketball. It's like when I sit down to watch sports documentaries, if I don't follow the sport, I kind of switch off. It's just it's so engrossing the way that they tell the story. It's just so incredibly done, and it's just like
Yeah, because it's more about their lives than it is about basketball. Ultimately, that's just
Yeah.
kind of what's motivating them.
And I never really made the comparison from that to Boyhood. I like the fact that you did that. I'm like, I never even thought about that. I
Mhm.
dig that. All right. Hoop Dreams for Best Documentary is snub number 2 on Scott's squad. What is going to be the second pick from Henry? What you got?
So I want to go director here, and I'm going with a director similar to Ennio Morricone, where this director didn't get a nomination until the end of their career, and I'm going to Akira Kurosawa, and I'm going Seven Samurai.
Nice.
The fact that this is a 3.5-hour movie, black and white samurai, and it's just so engrossing. Like you have character moments like with Mifune, where you feel for him, but he's got light moments. He's funny. You give a chance for a lot of the samurai to like stand out and like have their own like characteristics and like be memorable in their own right. But also you have fantastic action. Like I said, it's in black and white, but the rain scene on the horses when they're just going around in the circle and it's just wet. And like I said, I love films when for best director. But I think it's one of those where without the fantastic directing, that the 3.5-hour length and just being in Japanese and black and white, that it just wouldn't be as appealing. And I think Kurosawa just did a fantastic job. And it's one of those where by the end of his career, you're like, wow, I can't believe it took this long to get a nomination. And it's fantastic. One of those movies where I'm like, all right, I'm never going to talk myself out of it. I know it's in foreign language film. I know it's long. I know it's in black and white, but oh God, it's so fantastic. And Seven Samurai, it's a banger because of Kurosawa.
Yeah, and it's been remade into the Magnificent Seven twice. They only remake the best stuff out of there. But I just started watching Kurosawa stuff up until a couple weeks ago. I wouldn't be able to comment, but I've seen that in Rashomon now, and I'm just like, okay, I get the hype. I understand why people think he's good. So, excellent pick.
It was a fun fact. It was between this and another movie that maybe will get brought up, but I had to go with the reason, like the longness, where the fact that he really, without his direction, it probably wouldn't have been as appealing and as iconic.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's a pretty big hole for me too. I did watch High and Low recently. That was the first one that I've seen, and I absolutely loved it. So I can't wait to dive in more.
Yeah, he should have been nominated for that one too.
Bunch of his stuff's on HBO Max right now. So,
just quickly,
Kurosawa's not in IG, so I can't. I have.
Yeah, right. No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Task at hand. Focus on the task at hand, Rue.
Right.
So what was nominated as well? So if Seven Samurai was in with these three, it would have been like one of the best. Like, this is one of the best times of the Oscars have ever done like a selection of films. It would have been Elia Kazan for On the Waterfront, Alfred Hitchcock for Rear Window, Billy Wilder for Sabrina. Then you have George Seaton for The Country Girl and William A. Wellman for The High and the Mighty. Those two
sounds like there's a spot for Kurosawa.
Started off so strong, yeah.
So strong.
Yeah, it did so strong. Started strong for sure.
And it.
We're not all big fans of High and Mighty. We're not all mighty heads.
Couldn't even
I'm
tell you.
neither high nor mighty.
Hard pass.
All right, over to Rue to close out round number 2. What you thinking?
All right. So the best theater experience I've ever had outside of when Sam Jackson got eaten by that shark. Because that was fucking hilarious.
Deep Blue Sea.
Cap is staring at Thanos' army.
Oh boy.
And you hear Sam go on your left. The portal opens up. You get Shuri, T'Challa, and Okoye. And Alan Silvestri's score hits. And there's not a dry eye in the damn theater. And we give The Rise of Skywalker a spot on best score, and Avengers Endgame does not. What the hell? Avengers Endgame is one of the most beautiful scores up and down I have heard for what it is and where it is. And Portals alone is just, I hear it and my eyes are watery. The Avengers theme is iconic as hell. And yeah, this was the snub. I was watching the nominations and I said, The Rise of what? Yeah, John Williams, I understand you, but come the fuck on. Alan Silvestri.
It's been some time or two.
Alan Silvestri deserved this nomination and was giantly given the shaft.
No, I'll agree with you. I didn't have it on my list, but you know what? It is a fantastic score in that moment alone. Yeah. When
Really did feel like people just hate especially the Academy just hated it because it made money. It's just like because it only got nominated for best visual effects. Like you even could make an argument for maybe like Robert Downey Jr. getting a best supporting actor nomination. It probably should have gotten a best picture nomination just because of the importance of it. It's the biggest fucking film ever. Avatar got a ton of things, and it
it's fair. That's a fair point.
Combination of money. Combination of money and comic book bias.
Yeah.
Endgame is the equivalent to Return of the King, where it's a culmination of the franchise and what led before, and it's also fantastic in its own right. So, it felt well deserving of that and other movies that potentially could get brought up that I won't mention, but you know what I mean? Like the fact that it's fantastic and it wasn't even nominated for, something big like that is pretty sad.
Fair.
Yeah, it's my favorite MCU movie. I say that not being a huge fan of the MCU, but like I do actually really love this movie. And yeah, I mean, like I like some of the stuff on Rise of Skywalker's score, even though the movie's a trash fire. But in terms of like new material, I think this again, Portals and some of the other stuff that shows up here probably necessitated the nomination over John Williams. Because looking at the other nominees, I don't know if there's anything else I would take out of there. I mean, again, Joker's a movie I don't like, but I do think the score is pretty good. So,
still haven't seen Joker. One of these days,
You're not missing anything.
Have you ever seen a bad stand-up comedy? Pretty much that.
Yeah. All right. Good to know. All right. And round 2. Tony, recap time. Take it away.
Absolutely. All right. So, Peggy, you went first this round. You went for Best Original Score, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Scott in the middle there. Hoop Dreams for Best Documentary. Henry went for Best Seven Samurai. Akira Kurosawa for Best Director. There's a reason I didn't put Akira Kurosawa in there. And we wrapped it up with original score for Avenger Endgame.
All right. Back to Rue. Third round pick. What are you thinking of taking?
We're going back to Spike. And we're going back to the fact that even now, the Academy's inclusion is just Delroy Lindo in The Five Bloods is absolutely amazing. And from jump, everybody says, well, one Best Actor nomination is done. It's wrapped up. It's in there. And not only the Oscars, but damn near every single award show decided that for some reason that monologue alone wasn't enough to give him a Best Actor nomination. And I don't know why. Delroy Lindo in The Five Bloods. I don't enjoy the movie very much. I think it's just an okay film, but him in this movie is top-notch performance, up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Rue. Like I'm like kind of iffy on this movie. I'm kind of mixed on the movie as a whole, but I think this is one of those where it's probably his best performance of his career, and even if it's not, he's probably an actor who has deserved to be nominated before, and so let's put him in there, give him sort of the legacy nomination, even if you're not going to give him the award ultimately, because like I don't know, looking at the nominees again, like I think Anthony Hopkins was fantastic. I think Riz Ahmed was fantastic in Sound of Metal, but he probably deserved to be in there. Let's take out Gary Oldman. Like
I was gonna say,
I like Mank a lot, but yeah, he probably didn't deserve to be in there.
I haven't seen Mank, but all I've heard is that Mank is a mediocre film with just okay performances. And Gary,
I like the movie.
Really so
I'm not the biggest Divide Blood fans, but Delroy Lindo, he's definitely the standout. You know what I mean? And then when I went back into Spike Lee's filmography and like when I watched Clockers, and I was like, holy cow, this guy's got it. Like that wasn't just a one-hit wonder performance. Like this guy is a bad man. So he should have got some sort of rec. And like you said, going in, a lot of people were like, oh, Delroy Lindo, shoo-in, lock. You know what I mean? Just like maybe other names we might mention up later, where it's like, and then now no nomination at all. It's kind of mind blowing.
It really feels for Delroy Lindo fight. It's just like because of Chadwick Boseman's passing, just like everyone kind of forgot the Five Bloods existed, apart from Chadwick was in that film before he passed. It's like, and he just got he didn't get the credit he deserved because it was all just about that, which is a terrible shame because not only do you lose his performance, but it's like there are some really good performances in the rest of that film that just don't get talked about anymore.
I'm scrolling through his list of credits. Gotta say, my favorite Delroy Lindo role is probably Gone in 60 Seconds, but that's just. Or shout out to him in Congo. I love him in Congo. It's a very small role, but to stop eating my sesame cake gets me every fucking time.
Wasn't Defy Bloods Netflix or a streaming service?
It was.
Yeah. It was,
And
yeah.
I think that's another reason. Like, it got overlooked and it was like in the middle of the summer, I'm pretty sure. So just one of those timings where it just didn't work out to its benefit, and like you said, just forgotten.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of the first major films that got released after the pandemic hit, where it's like everyone paid attention to it for that week. Then it was like on to the next one.
That's the bad thing about the Netflix approach to everything. Really, is such a small window of where it's actually in the zeitgeist.
That's fair. All right, over to Henry. Henry, what you got for your third round pick?
This one's tough because I want to stick with non performances to start off with. So I'm looking at my screenplays, and I don't know which one to pick. It's so tough.
Don't pick the one I'm gonna pick. Eventually,
I don't think so, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with this one just because I love the movie in its own right, but it compares with another movie from this director simply because of the screenplay. The acting is great, and the direction's great, but the screenplay is what it makes it memorable for me. I'm going Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder. It's one of those. It's just so smart, and everything that he does in the film, like if you watch it multiple times, you realize that everything just adds up, and it's well thought out, it's well planned, it's precise, it's not that long, so it does everything that you need it to do. It fleshes out the characters, the actual murder premise, how it goes, how it doesn't go, the ups and the downs of the entire film, how everything turns on its head by the end. And I feel like it's just really tight, and it doesn't have a standout performance, and one of those, and it's not a big name like other Hitchcock films, but I feel like script wise it's probably my favorite of his, and the fact it wasn't nominated, it's pretty weird. So Dial M for Murder for screenplay.
Cool.
I don't know how they would go about it, the original, just screenplay, but screenplay in general.
I have not seen this one, so I leave it to the rest of the panel. I'm gonna go get a beer while you discuss.
Yeah, this is a great movie. Probably in my top 5 Hitchcocks. At the same time, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know what I have to say about the screenplay, except, in general, probably Hitchcock's movies probably got overlooked for the screenplays. I don't know. I don't know that is a verifiable fact. I'd have to go back and look at the data on that. But I just think when it comes to genre movies, which is kind of what Hitchcock made, they're often overlooked for, the screenplay, despite the fact that those can be really difficult to write sometimes, harder than, your average, I don't know, adaptation of some great book, right? Which just kind of takes what is already great about the book and just slaps it down on the script. So.
Essentially, yeah.
Never seen it.
Yeah, same boat.
If you like mystery films, this is the purest form of just this is a mystery film. That every other film takes parts off to. It's so well written. It was a play. It was a play that was on BBC in the early 50s, and then Hitchcock just took it, I'm not really going to do much with the script. I'm just going to shoot it better. Yeah, and it just works so perfectly. And let's see.
There's little moments of where he drops something and he has the guy. I'm not going to get into too many specifics. You haven't seen, but he drops something and a guy picks it up and he's like, "Oh yeah, now you got your fingerprints on it." And this is in the 50s where that type of thing isn't at the height of people's mindset in crimes. So it's as smart as little things like that just add up. And there's so much that goes on. You're on the rewatch, little nuances, and I love it. It's my favorite Hitchcock.
Here we go. So looking at it. So I think I know the reason why it wasn't nominated, because Rear Window was nominated the same year for adapted screenplay, which is going to be. So
they both came out in 54. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, both out in 54. Right. So
okay.
I don't. I would say Dial M is the better one, but I guess because Rear Window, because it's more American,
more popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more American, therefore better. What?
John Williams was in it. And he wasn't nominated, but it was John Williams, the actor.
Gotcha. All right, over to Scott. Scott, what you got for your third overall selection?
All right, I'm going to go with an on-brand pick here, and I was just talking about how sometimes artists, when they're adapting something, will just kind of take what is great about the book and slap it down on a film and just call it a day, you know. But that is not what Greta Gerwig did when she directed Little Women.
Okay.
In fact, she created one of the most creative adaptations that I've seen of a novel, and in particular, Little Women, something that has been filmed 8 times before. I think like 8 times before this. She made a version that no one had ever seen before, and yet some of this is the screenplay, which actually was nominated. Some of it is the direction, like the lines get blurred a little bit, but like her directorial choices to change the structure of the story and put, you know, the past narrative and the present narrative sort of alongside each other, and, you know, contrast and compare certain scenes for maximum emotional impact, I think is brilliant. The way that she emphasizes showing rather than telling through her filmmaking, the way that she conveys Beth's death through just facial expressions and gestures rather than any sort of spoken dialogue, I think is something that is always very emotionally affecting to me. And yeah, she makes it so modern, right? She makes it this story about, you know, a woman trying to have her cake and eat it too in a world which tells her, you know, that she's not allowed to do that. You either have to be the stay-at-home mom and wife, or you can have a career. And I feel like we're probably still experiencing that. And there's just interesting things about authorship and all of that, and getting your name on a work, you know, because of who you are, that are all so relevant. And I can't imagine anyone making a better version of the Little Women story than what Greta Gerwig did. And like, yeah, it's amazing to me the new life she was able to breathe into this, you know, centuries old novel. And yes, thank you for pointing out that it would not have been hard to get her in there, because it is an absolute travesty that Todd Phillips was nominated for directing Joker. Like, are you kidding me? And the other 4 nominees in this category, very deserving. But like, it's just, you think about how little that movie had to say and how much Little Women had to say. It's a farce.
I honestly, I would have put, outside of that one scene from 1917, I would have put Little Women in for Greta Gerwig and for Sam Mendes. I think it deserved the cinematography nomination, which it won for 1917, but I don't think it was that directed that well. I think
Edited well.
See, I don't know that I agree with that. I don't think I would have
I don't
taken
either.
Mendes out at all. But
I guess you just look at it as like the one shot take is what that whole film's built on, and it's just like, that's incredible. Roger Deakins deserves his Oscar for that. The fact that he had 15 nominations for Blade Runner 2049, that's what he fucking won for, is a travesty. But I don't know. It's just like honestly, I would even say The Irishman you probably could knock out for Little Women.
I don't agree with that either. Again, the answer is clear here. It's Todd Phillips. It's not anyone else. We're not going to take out Scorsese or, you know, or Tarantino or Mendes. No. Not to mention women never get nominated for Best Director.
Keep talking.
Yeah, fair game. Yeah, so I watched this for the first time before Scott just a couple weeks ago, and I liked it. It was a good movie. I definitely didn't love it, like, obviously, as much as he did, but I mean, that's also not saying much because he's probably the biggest fan in the entire world. Yeah, exactly. So, what is just 11 times you've already rewatched it, or 12? Like, it's been a bunch.
I think I'm at 10, but I haven't watched it since Christmas of last year. I haven't watched it at all in 2021. So,
oh boy.
Wow.
I know, I'm dying over here.
Yeah, you're in a triple feature of Little Women, but not all the versions of Little Women, just the same one 3 times in a row next Christmas.
Yeah, I got to get those numbers up.
The rookie numbers.
Scott has seen one version of Little Women 10 times, and I have seen all 8 versions. None. Never watched any Little Women ever.
I can tell you, Florence Pugh makes a better Amy than Kristen Dunst and Samantha Mathis combined, because they do combine to play that role. And Saoirse Ronan is a much better Jo than Winona Ryder. I will say that.
Slightly better. I like Winona Ryder Jo a lot, actually. But rude, they're little and they're women. What else more? What more do you need?
Little Giants.
Yes.
See, I like Susan Sarandon as the mom better than Laura Dern. That might be controversial.
Yeah, it is. I don't agree with that.
I would say Christian Bale is the better Theodore. Or
Are we
Laurie, I should
fantasy?
say.
We're film fighting now.
No.
What's the best Little Women?
Chalamet's better. Hey.
All right, so it's over to me. Okay, so I'm gonna go for someone. I'm gonna skip over the best supporting. I'm gonna go someone who should have gotten best director. I think a couple times because he just had a really good run for a couple movies. One of his movies did get nominated for best picture, and A Few Good Men definitely deserved a best picture nomination. But Rob Reiner has never been nominated for best director, and he could get it easily for, I think, for A Few Good Men, for Stand By Me, or he could get it for The Princess Bride. He should have. But so you take your pick of those three movies, put Rob Reiner at least nominated for best director for one of those. I mean, some people might say this is Spinal Tap, but I don't think the Academy would look fondly upon that one. But I think it's a criminal that Rob Reiner has never been nominated for best director, personally.
And the thing is,
when
too,
Harry Met Sally.
you've just named such different films, and I think that's what's great about Rob Reiner as a director. Tony brought up The Big Picture earlier, and Amanda Dobbins one time said on The Big Picture that if she had to take any director's movies to a desert island, if you could only pick one director's movies to have on a desert island, she'd pick Rob Reiner. That's actually a great pick when you look through his filmography, like I said, because you can get a little bit of everything. You can get, comedies like This Is Spinal Tap. You can get the fantasy of, kind of family fantasy movie like Princess Bride. You can get serious drama like, A Few Good Men. He's got everything. And
that's why you go with The Princess Bride. I'd say just Rob Reiner, best director.
All right.
Yeah.
Normally they turn out very well. And so, he hasn't been nominated at all. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Nope.
That's pretty crazy.
He's gotten one Oscar nod, and that's best picture for A Few Good Men. That's it.
My favorite Rob Reiner movie is Stand By Me. So the fact that he's able to bring those children to life and be so memorable, that his directing is fantastic, and the train sequence is really good. You have the story time scene. Like there's a lot of things where he really stands out in his direction.
That movie's only 90 minutes long.
Yeah,
and it packs so much into it. Oh, it's so great. But yeah.
I, for a long time, did not know Rob Reiner did A Few Good Men, and I was like, what? So that really goes to what Scott's saying. Like, I thought he was a straight-up rom-com director. And then, okay, Misery, Few Good Men. I was like, and you're the son of Saul, one of the greatest characters in Ocean. Yes. He's a great actor, too. So that's hilarious.
Wolf of Wall Street. Hilarious. Puts on that English accent.
And if I can add for just 1 second too, like with A Few Good Men, people think about it as being like a Sorkin film, like, oh, this is all about Sorkin's script. But I think when you watch something like A Few Good Men or The Social Network, where you have like A-list director directing the movie, and then you watch The Trial of the Chicago 7, which is still good, but not as good. You see that sometimes you need a person like Rob Reiner to step in and sort of rein in Sorkin a little bit, because when he gets carried away, like he kind of does at times in The Trial of the Chicago 7, the results can be a little muddled. So I think it's one of those movies, A Few Good Men, where you watch it and direction might not actually stand out to you, but he's actually doing something sort of behind the scenes, pretty nuanced, that makes the film a lot better for it.
Yeah, I guess the only argument you would have against Few Good Men would be the fact that it was already a play. So how much? That question of how much directing do you do when it's already been, when you've also got some members of the cast from the play in there to, like, how much are you actually reinventing the wheel? And how
again, maybe sometimes it's just going to Sorkin and saying, like, for example, in the original script, I believe, of A Few Good Men, the film ends with Tom Cruise and Demi Moore kissing in the courtroom, which is just that would have not. It would not be my favorite movie, probably, if that was the case, if that's how it ended. Sometimes maybe you need somebody like Rob Reiner to go and say, hey, no, maybe we shouldn't end the movie this way.
Yeah, fair. I mean, he didn't knock all of them out of the park. He's had a few swings and misses along the way. But when he hits, it's normally home run.
Yeah, 80s and 90s.
He had a nice run going there for a while. But all right, end of round 3. Tony, over to you. If you've got
Yeah,
it all
absolutely.
filled in.
I didn't
We
forget to put in Rob Reiner for Best Director. I
That's-
didn't write in The Princess Bride because I just picked one thinking that you were cheating picking a director. But here we are. So Ruin versus Round, he went for Delroy Lindo, did The Five Blood for Best Actor. Henry II, Dallin for Murder for Best Original Screenplay. Scott Little Women for Best Director for Get Gerwig. And then Peggy Rob Reiner, Best Director in general.
Okay, there's so much still on the board, and I've only got 2 picks left, and that sucks.
Yeah,
All
I'm scared.
right. What do I pick? I mean, I would change it up a little bit, but
Remember, documentary shorts.
which one do I go with? All right, I'm just gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Best Original Score. Now, this one I don't know the story behind it because this gentleman was nominated for a different movie the same year and actually won for that movie. But the fact that this movie for him was not nominated at all shocked me as I was doing research for this. Back in the 1994 Oscars, John Williams did win for Schindler's List, but was not even nominated for Jurassic Park. And that shocks me. So I will take Jurassic Park, John Williams, Best Original Score for my 4th overall pick.
How the hell was that not nominated?
Right?
Yeah.
They probably
That's
gave
one
him
of
the
those-
one and was like, "That's enough."
I didn't like maybe he didn't want to like cancel himself out, having the vote divided between Schindler's and Jurassic, and then maybe somebody else wins and he gets offered.
I wonder
I
if
don't
he'd
know.
earned the right where they called him, like, "Hey, which one do you want?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe.
you kind of earned it. We're giving
Right?
you one no matter what. We'll let you pick.
The year after, they gave Lion King 3 nominations in song. So
Yeah, I don't know.
Hans Zimmer. I mean,
It
in that
just-
movie, they were just like, "Yeah, we'll take them all," but you know, John Williams is like, "No,
But
I
it just-
only
it's
need
such
one.
an
I'm gonna humble
iconic-
myself."
Yeah, it's such an iconic score. I don't understand.
The Age of Innocence, though, really deserved that Oscar nomination above.
Yeah, I
the-
had it written down. Age of Innocence, The Remains of the Day, The Firm, and The Fugitive were the nominees that year.
I think Jurassic Park can combine and beat all those.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I forgot about Mark Shaman's score for The Firm. Yeah, that's a wild one.
There's also another movie that year that got snubbed. I don't think I'm going to draft. Anybody else drafting an original score from the 94 Oscars? Can I just throw it out there?
Nah, not on my.
Are we
list.
good? Are good?
No.
Okay, Jerry Goldsmith's score for Rudy should have been listed that year as well. So just putting that out there in the ethos. Love that score.
Rudy Rudiger.
I mean, yeah, Jurassic Park is probably the more iconic score.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Schindler's List is the better film, but that wasn't really the question, I guess.
Yeah,
They're
right.
both great scores by a master of the craft.
Absolutely.
That's why I was joking a little bit, but I feel like maybe that John Williams had a little input because he was like, "We're gonna pick the more iconic movie and give it all of its representation." Whereas Jurassic Park, Jaws, it's actually, if that was like his first quote unquote blockbuster score, and they were like, "Oh, we're just not ready for that," but like he already did,
No,
Star Wars
E.T.
and Jaws and stuff. So it's like, it stood out, and then it's so iconic. It's arguably a top 3 score from John Williams. So yeah,
Yep.
not nominated is crazy.
Yep, very, very crazy.
I'm just trying to think of, like, I mean, what's more iconic than the Jurassic Park Welcome to Jurassic Park theme? How the fuck does that not get nominated? Just for that one song alone?
I was utterly floored when I saw that. I'm surprised it got back around to me with this crew, so I'm very happy. But I've got 4 out of my 5. Let's get the 4th of Scott's squad. Go ahead, bud.
Well, I don't know how he did it, but Star Drew in the chat has somehow just literally called what my next pick was going to be. So I might as well go for it now because with animated feature, right, you think, well, the 5 good animated movies every year, are going to get nominated. Like, it's just kind of inevitable. And yet somehow the Lego Movie, which is one of my favorite animated films of all time, was not apparently good enough for the 5 that particular year. And sure, there's the Tom Moore's Song of the Sea is in here, Tale of the Princess Kaguya, which is a Studio Ghibli film, but like is the Box Trolls considered one of the better Leica films? I don't know. Is Big Hero 6 a film that it really endures that much? Not in the way that the Lego Movie has, in my opinion. I think Lord and Miller's screenplay and everything is genius for this movie. Like, they predicted Trump becoming president 2 years before Trump became president. I mean, president business in this movie, like, is Trump. And it's kind of crazy, like, if you go back and watch it, how well this movie has held up. And I love the sense of humor. I love Lord Miller's sense of humor. Just the quick jokes and everything really worked for me. And it's got a nice emotional, chord too, and some good ideas about like how we should really value creativity in society. And sometimes that things that don't look exactly right, or aren't as pleasing to the eye as you may initially think, are kind of the product of the artist, and that can be a beautiful thing in and of itself. And so I think it's actually a pretty fulfilling movie on every level, and I rewatch it a lot. I love it. I don't watch a lot of anime. I mean, I don't rewatch a lot of animated movies, but this is one that I will always come back to. So I think it's crazy again because it's best animated feature. Like, there's not that many in a given year that are good. How does it miss out?
I don't know. I think the Oscar panel, they thought that every nominee was awesome, and they liked the ones that they picked.
I agree with you on the snub. Lego Movie should have been nominated. Just 2 points. One, Big Hero 6 is a gem and deserved all the recognition. Love that film. 2, The Simpsons did it way before Lego. The Lego Movie predicted it. So, but yes, this was definitely snubbed. I was very surprised that this did not get nominated.
Yeah. Feels weird.
Best original song it got nominated for.
Yeah, I'm sure that Lord Miller really had trouble relating to the message of the song after the movie did not get nominated. But I was glad they finally got their due when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won a few years later.
That's a good movie.
So
Just looking at the list of what got nominated: Big Hero 6, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Song of the Sea, The Tale of Princess Kyoa, and as you said, the box shows, just like
the box shows feels like the one to me that would be knocked out.
Oh yeah,
like I know like some people like Laika, but like Laika always gets nominated, and I feel like that's not one that I hear people talk about in the same way that I hear people talk about like Kubo or Frankenweenie or something like that.
It's the issue with the Academy with stop motion films that it's like if they do a good stop motion film, it'll always get nominated because do you know how much work they had to do to move the little models a little bit every time? It's like, yeah, but if it's not Aardman, then it's shit.
Sorry, Frankenweenie, I misspoke. I meant to say Paranorman because Frankenweenie was not Laika, but yeah.
No. Cool. The Lego Movie off the board. Henry, what are you taking fourth overall?
All right, I'm finally gonna go into performances, and when you think of a villain, you want someone who like stands out, but also you understand like kind of their point of view, and the performance really holds together what they're doing and why they're able to like stand out. And one of my favorite villains of all time is in Pan's Labyrinth, El Capitan Vidal, Sergi Lopez. I actually looked at the nominees, and as much as I love Alan Arkin in Little Miss Sunshine, I feel like you could take him out because I really feel like Sergi Lopez just does more for overall acting and just the scope of that film, and kind of brings it home together. And like I said, he's one of my favorite villains of all time, and without him being like the foil to Ophelia's like character, you don't it's not just a fantasy film. Like there's horror aspect more than just the pale man. Like him as a character just really brings it home. You have the scene when he gets cut, and just everything that goes on, and like he's so horrific. Like he just shoots people for nothing, and it's like it's war, and it's really dark, but his performance is just it's brutal, and he brings it home. And obviously they're not going to nominate him for that, but that's why I think it's a snub, because they should have.
I've never seen Pan's Labyrinth.
I haven't seen either. Alan Arkin won that year, right?
Yeah. He did, yeah. This was the Eddie Murphy. This was the Eddie Murphy year where Norbit killed his chances. Yeah.
Yeah. So he stole it from Eddie Murphy, and we're talking about how he doesn't even need to be on there. Period. Yeah. So haven't seen this film either, but just off of that, sure. Yeah.
Sergey.
Like I said, I love Alan Arkin in that movie, but there's nothing really about it that I feel like that was like a lifetime achievement award or something, where it's because he's good, but I don't know, Oscar worthy, let alone the win. Like I said, and Captain Vidal, Sergio Lopez
I would argue for Steve Carell probably deserved the nomination instead of Arkin for Little Miss Sunshine.
That might have been best lead though. Maybe
Is that Foxcatcher year?
No.
He's talking about Little Miss Sunshine.
Ah, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. I don't know.
But
Never mind.
And I haven't seen Little Children, but I heard Jackie Earle Haley is really fantastic in that. And then Iman Hansu in Blood Diamond, you definitely can't tell you what he brings a lot to it. And then Mark Wahlberg, sure, he's not in the movie enough, so maybe you could take him out technically on on a technicality, but I love it. I'm a little biased on that one. So
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I was just gonna say we all got our favorites. So go ahead.
That's it. But it's like the fact that neither DiCaprio or Damon got nominated for The Departed, but yet Mark Wahlberg did, just feels weird.
Wahlberg stole that movie, in my opinion. He was the best part of it for me.
yeah, but is it more of like a bit thing, like in Glengarry Glen Ross, Alec Baldwin steals the movie, but is it really like Oscar worthy? It's more of the scene, you know what I mean? That's what you want to watch, and he's got scenes, but as a whole, I don't know. That's a tough debate. And like I said, I'm biased because I love it and I quote it all the time. So
I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Sorry.
Yeah, Wahlberg in there was just him doing him at his best.
Yeah,
That's
he
fair,
feels a
but-
little out of his league, to be honest, with some of those people who are in that movie. Like, but he's fine.
I'm now just thinking in my head, just like, holy shit, the character Mark Wahlberg, The Departed, and the other guy's pretty much the exact same character.
before he got demoted, then he went, he became desk bitch and he was in the other guy. So that's probably what happened before he shot Jeter.
I'll defend Mark Wahlberg's acting abilities another time. See the movie Rockstar. I love him in Rockstar. I don't know why. I just love that movie. All right, Rue,
Steel
over to
Dragon.
you. Thank you. Rue, your fourth round pick.
All right. My last two picks are performances. And this one is it's actually two snubs in one. And it also gives me a reason to rail against Marriage Story again, because I'm sorry, Scott, fuck that movie, fuck the performances in it. I don't like it. Scarlett Johansson deserved the best supporting actress win above Laura Dern, who didn't really do anything in that film to me.
I agree.
And
she lawyered.
And she could have gone at three of the people. Cynthia Erivo and Harriet was fine. She didn't deserve that. The fact that Lupita Nyong'o didn't get nominated for two performances in one in Us, absolutely amazing on both sides.
That's fair.
Criminal. She was ridiculously good in that film to be able to carry two different performances at the same time against each other. Lupita Nyong'o for Us is just ugh. And again, sorry, but fuck Marriage Story. I don't like that film at all.
Yeah, not a problem. Just don't let Noah Baumbach hear you saying that. I have not seen Us. It's one of those ones horror is not my forte. I don't visit it often, so I just haven't seen it yet. So sorry.
To be fair, I don't think Noah Baumbach actually likes Marriage Story either. I mean, it's literally the story of his divorce from Jennifer Jason Leigh. But no, this is an excellent pick, Rue. This is one of, to me, the most impressive things an actor can do when they can do these sort of double performances. Like Naomi Watts in Mulholland Drive is another one of my favorites. If you just watch The Green Knight this year, Alicia Vikander kind of does a similar sort of double performance thing in that movie that is probably going to get overlooked. And there's obviously other examples as well. But I think this movie's fantastic. I think she's fantastic in it. It was a tough field, but there was room for her. I definitely think so.
I truly believe, if the people who vote for Oscars, if they would have seen it more than once, they would have understood truly, what she was doing with that performance and what the characters are and, why it's so memorable. And Us is one of those films where it just goes up on rewatch. Whereas Get Out's more rewatchable as a film. Us, when I finally go back to it each time, it's just fantastic. And it's just one of those, the acting performances, it's funny, it's scary, it's weird. It's got a lot of things. So depending on your mood, it can fit in. It's not just full horror. So you could check it out and, not cry.
And this was also,
Go ahead. You go ahead.
This was also the year when there was only one black acting nominee in all the categories, and that was Cynthia Erivo. So, like, come on, guys. Charlize Theron did not need to be in there. Like, it was bombshell. I mean, come on.
Anytime you get Lupita on a red carpet, I'm on board because she always has a moment. I still remember that like bright ice blue Oscars gown that she had because she rocked that shit. I love red carpets for the award shows. Anyways, end of round 4. I do. What? I'm sorry.
No shame.
Tony, recap and then last picks, guys. Make sure you make it a good one.
It's gonna be a good one. Just leaving out other stuff. It's scary.
Yeah, true.
All right, so picking one first this round, you went with Jurassic Park for best original score. Scott went for Lego Movie for best animated. Henry went for Sergio Lopez. This is what I get for trying to read words.
Sergey
Lopez, best Bottom Nights for Pan's Labyrinth. And Amaru went for Us, Lupita Nyong'o for best actress.
All right, 5th and final round, gentlemen. Last pick to complete your squad. Rue, how are you rounding out your team?
Okay. I believe this is just Oscar bait in general. You get a 90-year-old man dealing with Alzheimer's, dealing with one of the worst tragedies in his life that he is the cause of, trying to be a father figure and a grandfather figure on the run. That is Oscar everything. And the fact that it is attached to an X-Men property is the reason he doesn't get nominated. But a man who replaces He Who Must Not Be Named in the last second gets it. Patrick Stewart is fucking amazing in Logan. If you take out the title Logan and put anything else on that, he's getting nominated for that performance in Logan. It's a Western. On top of that, the movie is amazing. On top of that, he outshines Hugh Jackman, who is the most perfectly cast person ever. Patrick Stewart was absolutely robbed because they only wanted to because the Oscars just don't like comic book movies. So yeah, it's annoying.
I still haven't seen Logan.
It's fine. It's a lot to see. You gotta warm up to it.
Yeah,
but you need to see it.
I'm just gonna stay off screen until the end of this round.
Patrick Stewart did a fantastic job pitching the chalupa from Taco Bell. So after that spiel, I was like, man, I'm really hungry and I really want one. No, he's fantastic. He brings moments, like you said, where he doesn't remember things, but also he's funny, he's witty, he's got emotional moment. The final scene, just his monologue. It's it's beautiful, and it just and it's an encapsulation of his entire performance. And you could even say the same thing about Hugh Jackman for Logan in the film, so the fact that neither of them got it, like we talked about earlier, Tony Stark for Endgame, like it's just one of those things where we're in today's age where comic book films are so popular, and at this point it's not niche, it's more normal than anything nowadays. Similar like horror starting to get popularized in like the Oscars, well, not always, but you know what I mean. So the fact that like you said, it wasn't nominated, a lot of people were fighting for it and shocked and really upset that he wasn't. It's really sad.
I'm just curious, does anyone even remember the movie Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri?
Yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah, because it's really good.
I tried to watch it and I have it, like I was too late for a screener, so I never got back around to it. I heard it's great. But no, I think Christopher Plummer can just go.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, right. He was in there for all the money in the world.
He was in there for replacing He Who Must Not Be
Named.
Yeah,
that's the real reason he was in there. You're probably right about that. So yeah,
just to kind of put the Band-Aid on it. It's like that meme when it's the water tank breaking and it's the tape. Yeah. And it's like Christopher Plummer Oscar nomination.
It's like looking at the rest of it. So you have two people from Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson from Three Billboards. One of them probably could have been knocked out. Willem Dafoe for the Florida Project.
You're not knocking him out. Just
no, you're not.
Close your mouth right now.
I know. I love the Florida Project. Richard Jenkins in The Shape of Water.
I honestly, I don't know. It's tough. I think he's really good, but technically you could.
Yeah, and then you have Plummer for All the Money in the World for coming in late.
But yeah, more than likely to take out Plummer.
It does feel that just like for whatever reason that year they just went, no, we're not going to do anything for the popular films. How dare you?
Hey, they did nominate Logan for a screenplay though, which was kind of a big
It's
step.
still
I
step
will
up,
I
yeah.
will give him credit for that.
That
yeah.
was
No,
great.
absolutely. Would we all
It's
agree
also
that
Scott Frank, who's just like one of the best screenwriters, period. So that's the reason why.
is it safe to say that Patrick Stewart and Logan is the best performance of Charles Xavier from the entire franchise, or is there another one
Yes.
maybe that
Easily the best performance of Charles Xavier. It's kind of not even fair because it's I think one of the first X-Men genre films. Like all the other X-Men films are comic book movies. This one is a Western drama that happens to be a comic book based off a comic book.
Yeah, it's a Western, but instead of a gun, he has swords for fingers.
Yeah.
like if you're not used to the X-Men beforehand, this movie is like Road to Perdition. We're like, oh, that's based on a comic book, just based on how the film turns out, and it should have got more recognition for a lot of things. So I'm not mad at it.
All right, I think Peggy might be muted because she's talking now. I can't see it. So Henry,
Peggy, that was such a good story. I was really enjoying. That's why we didn't want to interrupt. We were just enjoying that story.
Okay, Ruth's team is full up. Henry, how are you completing yours? What's your fifth and final pick?
Yeah, so there's so many to choose from, and I feel like the tiebreaker is just go with my favorite movie, and I'm going Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski. He is so iconic in performance, in just as a character, like Dude Fest. Like there's things out there where people just want to be the dude, and there's so many moments where he's got lines that you cannot have like from the page without Jeff Bridges' performance, and it stands out. It's memorable. So many quotes. He's got moments where he's funny, he's stupid, he's goofy, but as we see in later years, where for example like Bridesmaid, where Melissa McCarthy gets nominated for a comedy performance, like it's possible. So I feel like it was just a little before its time in terms of whatever. And I looked at all the nominees that year, and it's going to be unfair, but I haven't seen Affliction or Gods and Monsters, so maybe take one of those out. I've heard good things from Ian McKellen, Nick Nolte, so I mean I don't know for sure. Like I'm not taking Tom Hanks. Roberto Benigni, he won and he was fantastic. Edward Norton's fantastic, so maybe Nolte and McKellen. So I don't know for sure, but completely biased. Jeff Bridges is the dude, and I love it so much because of the performance and the movie, obviously, but. Jeff Bridges. So I'm going completely biased with my favorite movie to talk about.
Not a problem. Everyone's got a biased pick here and there, and you should always pick with your heart. I had a different role from this movie that I thought should have gotten nominated, but
yeah.
But
I think I have the same.
I was gonna say there's a few, but I mean, incredible movie, and I agree. I think this one was probably just like before its time, and like retroactively now, absolutely. When we see how iconic the dude has become, and the fact that Jeff Bridges has kind of just been playing some version of the dude in every movie since The Big Lebowski came out, we're like
just a little more grizzled.
Not in Stick It.
I feel like people didn't really get this movie when it came out, probably in 1998, because it was like the Coen brothers coming off of Fargo, right, which was this huge populist hit, and then they make this sort of weird cult movie with all of these dream sequences and bowling and all this stuff, and people just didn't get it at the time. But yeah, fantastic movie, fantastic performance.
I do have to get out of here after this, but I watched The Big Lebowski for the first time ever this year.
Nice.
Thank you, Coho, for making that a debate topic. So finally saw it. I enjoyed it. And I see why the dude is an iconic character. I'm not mad at this pick. Because Jeff Bridges is amazing. Just about everything. Hope his cancer spell is going okay and all that. But yeah, good pick. I like it. And I'm gonna go from being in here to just listening on my phone as I try to go get this basketball playoff win. So peace out, y'all.
Bye. See you, Ruth. Thank you for joining.
Bye, Ruth.
Kick some ass.
Just quickly, Rue's already gone. One got to say reviews. Go watch it. It's fantastic. His reviews for What If is probably there's a new episode of What If out, so he probably will have a review up next day or two and bite-sized breakdown as well.
Yeah. Make sure you check out his show. One Gotta Stay. It's a very, very good show. All right.
Yeah. I'll be. I think I've got one of my big honorable mention is from '98 for a lead actor. So it wasn't Lebowski. There's another one that I think I think it's the same situation of just like he got overlooked because of who he is.
Scott, are you picking the lead from '98?
I am not. No.
Neither am I. Go ahead.
Jim Carrey for Truman Show.
Okay.
I think it's the fact that if it wasn't it's the guy that talks out of his ass in Ace Ventura, he would have been there instead of I don't think there's a better performance than Life is Beautiful is amazing, but I think the Truman Show he just is everything about him is just so much better.
It's definitely a good performance, but I have to look at the rest of the nominees. But anywho, Scott, over to you for your fifth and final pick.
All right, I'll close it out with a performance since I haven't done one yet, and I will pick one that I didn't pick last time when I was on the show. For the roles that should have been nominated. But she's in a movie right now. She's one of my favorite actresses, has never been nominated. And I think it's a crime because I think Rebecca Hall is one of the best actresses that we have. And the movie, which I am choosing, again, this is an off the wall pick, just it's my last pick, whatever, is a movie from 2016 called Christine. And in this movie, she plays it's a true story about this journalist named Christine Chubbuck in Florida in like the 70s who shot herself on live TV. And it is kind of about the final months of her life. And Rebecca Hall just gives an unbelievable performance as, one of the best portrayals of like mental illness that you'll ever see, just really shedding light on what it's like to live with that. And, at times hopelessness that she feels. And she just has such a great intensity that she always brings to her movies. And The Night House, which is the movie that's out right now, she's also excellent in that. She's just like dramatic wise. There are a few actresses that I think I would hold in a higher regard. Again, that intensity that she's able to bring to the role, I don't think anyone else could have done this better. And it's a movie that I think the movie is good. I think the performance is exceptional, and it probably never really had much of a chance to get nominated because the movie just didn't really catch people's eye. But her performance is so good, and it's worth checking out the movie to see that. It's one of my favorite performances of the 2010s, probably.
So I haven't seen the movie. So you seeing it, would you say that it's fair that this movie gets linked in with the Stephen King Christine, and people just were assuming it was a remake of that, and they just didn't.
I hope that that's not the case, but
that's what I thought when you first said it. I'm like,
I guess.
Stephen King remake?
I just know the poster because it's her at the desk where she got like her hands crossed or whatever, and she's just sitting there, and it's not, without seeing the movie, it just looks like a random kind of a boring poster. So it's not as appealing, and I never knew what it was about.
And I think when you look at the subject matter, it's like, oh, this movie is probably depressing. And you know what? It kind of is. Yeah. But again, I think it's worth it just because her portrayal of the character is so interesting. And just, in the same way that something like Margot Robbie and I, Tonya, you look at the real life person who it's based off, and they're only known for really one thing. And Christine Chubbuck is only known as, oh, hey, this is the lady who shot herself on live TV. Tonya Harding is really only known as, oh, hey, this is, she hired somebody to club Nancy Kerrigan. But then you watch the movie and you realize, oh, wow, like this was a real person with real emotions and real things that they were going through. And this is how they, this is what led them to this, moment that became iconic. And it just, reframes the narrative around them in a way that I think is really interesting.
That's fair. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Recently watched Vicky Cristina Barcelona. She was good in that. I don't know. So
always great. I mean, The Town, she's excellent. Even going back to the start of her career with a film that probably only Tony will know called Starter for 10.
Yeah. I've seen it with James McAvoy. Yeah.
James McAvoy, Benedict Cumberbatch, pretty much any British actor from the 2000s that wasn't in Shaun of the Dead.
The Gift, she's excellent in that as well. I mean, she's just always delivers.
Like I said, The Prestige, where she's got a lot of heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
Just looking at it here, the best actress for that year, like Emma Stone in La La Land was always going to win, but then it's like they pretty much had like three films in there where it's just like no one that was in there just to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna give credit to these small films. So
Yeah,
Kristen
did Meryl
Jenkins
Streep get
is the
nominated
one.
for some random stuff?
Yeah, that Florence Foster Jenkins, shitty out.
Kick that way out of
Yeah, you've got Isabel Hooper for Elle. Ruth
Okay,
Negga
that should
from
stay. That can stay.
Loving, and Natalie Portman for Jackie.
Loving, yes.
So.
Don't take her out. That performance.
And Ruth Negga is really good in the film that Rebecca Hall directed called Passing, which will be coming out a little bit later this year on streaming, I think.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
All right. Over to me to close out the draft. I can't decide.
Oh,
do I go a best supporting actor, or best supporting actress, or yeah, I think those are the two.
Go with your heart. Isn't that what we're doing in this last round?
I know, but they're both such great portrayals. You know what? I'm gonna go with my heart a little bit more. Although when we do honorable mentions, we'll know exactly who I was debating between. I am going with so in 1990, we had Julie Roberts. This is for best supporting actor. You had Julie Roberts in Steel Magnolias. You had Diane Wiest in Parenthood, and then you had Lena Olin for Enemies: A Love Story, and Angelica Houston for Enemies: A Love Story, where I think they overlooked. You could potentially give it to Olympia Dukakis. You could give it to Shirley MacLaine, but I think they overlooked Sally Field for best supporting actress, even though Julie Roberts got nominated for the same movie. But Sally Field in Steel Magnolias, I thought was fantastic. The scene at the funeral where she kind of goes on this tirade about how she can run to Texas and back, but her daughter can't, never could. And it's just one of those most heartbreaking scenes, I think, in all of cinema. And the fact that she wasn't even nominated kind of kills me. So, but honestly, you can give a best supporting nomination to any of those actresses in that movie because they're all supporting leads. They're all supporting / leads, if you will. But yeah, Sally Field, Steel Magnolias. Gentlemen, have you seen Steel Magnolias?
I've not. I'm sorry.
I've never actively avoided
I haven't
it.
needed
It
a
just
good
hasn't.
cry in a while, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie will definitely make you sob. But I will say, since we're about to end, and it's my show, and I can cheat a little bit, I was debating between that and Lawrence Fishburne in Boys in the Hood for best supporting actor.
Ooh.
So,
Would have been
if you guys want to discuss that one a little bit, because as Trey's father, knocks it out of the park. His whole speech about how there's a liquor store in every corner and why and all that stuff, just guts me.
I can't say if it's a worse. I was going to say I can't say if it's a worse pick than Steel Magnolias because I haven't seen Steel Magnolias again. But I can tell you, I think Lawrence Fishburne might have gotten you a few more votes in the poll, but it's not really about that.
That's fine. No, I don't mind if I lose the poll. That's fine.
I
Plus,
actually
according to Chris, Rue's already won it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually would have had Ice Cube from Boys in the Hood if I would have picked. I had him
Doughboy.
written
All right.
I would have had Ice Cube from 22 Jump Street, actually.
Yeah.
Infiltrate the dealer, find the supplier.
The whole dinner scene where he is confronting Jonah Hill about dating
so
his
angry.
daughter is one of the most hilarious things ever.
All right. Well, since you gentlemen can't really put any 2 cents in on Steel Magnolias, Tony, can you at all? Have you seen this one yet?
I've been meaning to. It's been on the list for a while. I've been working through my Dolly Parton movies.
Throw it on the to-do list and throw Straight Talk on there while you're at it if you're watching Dolly Parton movies.
Low-key, this would have been an honorable mention. Dolly Parton for 9 to 5. She's fantastic in it. Like she could have probably.
Yeah, they actually kicked me out of the state of Tennessee. I think the reason I'm not there anymore is because I don't think I've seen a single Dolly Parton film.
9 to 5, Straight Talk, Steel Magnolias. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting that.
That's
Anyways,
Little Whorehouse in Texas. Yeah.
I've never seen that one, so I can't really comment. Okay, Tony, if you could recap how teams broke out, and then everyone in the chat, what did we miss? What was been your draft picks? Let us know. Throw them in there. Throw it out there for us.
Absolutely. All right, so Amaru went first this week. He went for Malcolm X for Best Picture, Avengers Endgame for Best Original Score, Delroy Lindo in The Five Bloods for Best Actor, Lupita Nyong'o for Us for Best Actress, and then Patrick Stewart for Logan for Best Supporting Actor. I now want to see a film with those 3 people in it. Henry went second. He went Blind Spot for Best Picture, Seven Samurai for Akira Kurosawa for Best Director, Dallin for Murder for Best well, that'll be a Best Adapted Screenplay. Sergio Lopez for Best Supporting Actor for Pan's Labyrinth, and Jeff Bridges Best Actor for The Big Lebowski, playing himself. Scott there in third. Do the Right Thing for Best Picture, Hoop Dreams Best Director, Little Women, Goro Best Director, The Lego Movie Best Animated, and Rebecca Hall for Christine for Best Actress. And then Peggy at the end, Boogie Nights Best Picture, The Good, the Bad, the Best Original Score for Ennio Morricone, Rob Reiner Best Director. You have to pick a movie.
Yeah. When I put the poll up, I was just
Bride,
saying, take your fucking pick is what I'm going to write.
Princess Bride. Jurassic Park Best Original Score, and Steel Magnolia for Sally Fields for Best Supporting Actress.
All right, let's go around the horn and get everyone's honorable mentions, because there's a bunch that we left off the board, because since this covered any nomination category, there's a few. Scott, we'll start with you, and then after you've read off, like, I don't know, 7, 6, something like that. That's too many. And then give out any plugs that you got.
Yeah, I'm only going to do like 3, I think, but because there are, you could just go on and on. And again, go back and watch the roles that should have been nominated that we did last year, because obviously we talked about a lot of the performance ones back then. But the deep cut one I wanted to go, Midsommar should have been nominated for best production design. The production design of that movie is incredible. The environment that they're able to create in this like little Swedish commune, the way it's so claustrophobic, and inside the small buildings and stuff, they just give you such a weird ambiance, and so much of that I think is on the production design. So that's a smaller one that I think should have been acknowledged. David Fincher not getting nominated for Zodiac for Best Director. In general, Zodiac was just overlooked at the Oscars. Although time has been kind to the film, it should have been the Best Picture of that year. And then my original score pick for Snubs would have been First Man, Justin Hurwitz's score from a few years ago for that movie. The Damien Chazelle movie was an unbelievable score. Actually won the Golden Globe for Best Original Score and then did not get nominated for the Academy Award. Kind of crazy. But he uses the theremin, which is a really interesting instrument, and he uses it very creatively. In that movie. The particular piece that plays when they land on the moon is like very beautiful. And I'll throw in one more for Best Original Song. A movie a couple years ago called Wild Rose had a song called Glasgow that was written by Mary Steenburgen, actually. And it's sung by Jessie Buckley in the movie, and it's a beautiful song, especially when you watch the movie. Highly recommend the movie, but it's at the very end of the movie, and the lyrics just kind of take on a whole new context when you watch it in the movie. But I think the movie was too small to get attention, but the song should have been nominated. So Glasgow, Wild Rose, those are my
Mary Steenburgen.
honorable mentions. Yeah, randomly wrote the song.
Crazy.
I believe it was her. I don't think I'm making that.
I trust you. All right, Henry, what are the few ones? Oh, sorry, Tony, go ahead.
I was going to say she's a talented guitarist, Maxine Virgin, so it makes a lot of sense that she would have.
Yeah, it was her. I just looked it up.
Now I just want to see her and Ted Danson jamming out somewhere.
The end. Yeah. No, I'm not going to spoil it, but if there's
all right, never mind. Henry, a few of your honorable mentions. What you got?
All right, so I have 3 Best Picture nominees. Heat, I don't know how that wasn't nominated. It's one of those films where it's so popular that I just looked at just now, and it didn't have a single nomination, let alone for Best Picture. So that's crazy. And To Watch, that's a movie that when for Best Picture, where just you have everything, where you have it's a buddy cop movie, but it's also a police procedural. It's also a crime drama mystery. Like there's so many elements, kind of like Zodiac, where you could touch on a few things. And then The Untouchables, the original, not the Upside, but the original, The Intouchables, the French film. It's one of those more beautiful films about friendship, paralyzed man and his caretaker, and just the friendship that they've, the bond that they developed. And there's just so many, heartening moments and just feel good moments in the movie, and I'm surprised it didn't get any love there. A few acting performances. Anthony Perkins for Psycho, one of my favorite performances of all time. The fact, kind of what we were talking about earlier with the horror, that's just they overlooked that. You don't have to go into similar. Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Samuel L. Jackson and Jackie Brown. Arguably, it's my favorite Samuel L. Jackson performance, and it's such an underrated Tarantino film. And the fact that he didn't get any love. Robert Forster was great, and Jackie Brown, he was nominated, but I feel like
he's
Samuel
the best
Jackson.
movie,
Yeah. And then obviously, Tom Hardy in Locke It's one of those where it's literally just him acting in a car, and he's fantastic. If you let him have his accents, he does a fantastic job because you can understand him and he can just be himself. Daniel Bruhl in Rush, that he wasn't nominated. That's one of those where, oh my God, he's just so fantastic. And then the scores that I wanted to talk about are Psycho, and then Escape from New York. That's John Carpenter, so famous for his scores, and Escape from New York is arguably my favorites. Halloween is, the most iconic, but Escape from New York is one of those where just the score, it's so much fun, and it's so unique, and it just has a lot going on. So, yeah. And then, Oscar for Tony Collette.
And then you got anything you want to? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say, I'll add to Henry's point about that one man acting. John Cho in Searching is another one that I would throw in there. As probably should have been nominated. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Keep meaning to watch that one. Then anything you want to plug? Anything you got coming up that you want to promote?
Yeah. There will be trivia. I re-channeled my YouTube channel, just Henry Confidential, because it's a lot easier. I get annoyed when I comment on things and it's the channel name. It's my name commenting. But Henry Confidential on YouTube, I do There Will Be Trivia. We actually got the championship match between Sean Sandberg and Bill Carriola. That's hasn't even filmed yet, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Bill. Go, Bill.
Yeah, definitely some fun stories there. Do a bunch of things where I'm just trying to figure out and talk movies and trying to get something to stick. And then every Saturday we get drunk and we do random trivia. Usually it's me and Jay, and I can't beat him. So somebody write a good match that favors me, because I need to win one, because I'm tired of him boosting his ego.
All right, and then I guess over to me, and then we'll leave Tony. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll go first, and then we'll leave Tony to say what he would have drafted. Okay, Lawrence Fishburne, but definitely my number one overall. Honorable mention. Boys in the Hood, he knocked that one out of the park. James Horner in 1990 should have been nominated for the score for Glory in my world. Because we had Born on the 4th of July and Last Crusade, both John Williams. I understand those. Field of Dreams, get it. Little Mermaid 1, get it. But the Fabulous Baker Boys, nah, get that out of there. Put Glory in there instead. Original screenplay for Before Sunrise. I mean, everyone knows I love the Before trilogy. Sunset and Midnight got original.
Yeah, the other two got it. Why not?
But not the first one. So that one
There's
definitely.
Two original.
And then John Goodman's never been nominated for an Oscar, and I just think he's so fantastic that he should have gotten one somewhere along the way. And that would probably be Walter for The Big Lebowski. That's the
Speed Racer. He should have been nominated for Speed Racer. Not really, but he is great.
To be fair, Speed Racer should have got. Did Speed Racer even get nominated for like visual effects or anything? Let's have a quick.
10 Cloverfield Lane. If you really want to go like Oscar bait type of performance, like that's the one. But then again,
all the boomers in the Academy were probably like, "My head hurts" after watching Speed Racer. So.
Speed Racer didn't get any nominations, which is a shame.
I guess Matthew Fox and Emil Hirsch just aren't as big of a draw. I don't know. But then also Reservoir Dogs. I think original screenplay would have been a good one for that one, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's adapted. I'm not sure. It's Quentin Tarantino, so it's very easily probably adapted. I'm not sure. But I just know I didn't get anything. So curious. And over to Tony. Can you show some of the suggestions that have been thrown out in the chat?
Absolutely. So just quickly, before he left, he said Dark Knight Best Picture, James McAvoy, Split, Spike Lee for Do the Right Thing, and then for a few people in the chat. So the big two that I would have done was just my weekly rant about the movie Rocks. That it got no love. Rocks is incredible. People should watch it. And Judy Garland for The Wizard of Oz. She got an honorary juvenile award. But damn it, the fact that she didn't it's one of the most memorable performances of all time, and fucking Renee Zellweger won the Oscar for pretending to be her.
I still haven't seen Judy. I need to see that too.
No one has actually. I'm convinced no one has actually seen the movie. I'm not sure it's a real movie. Yeah,
it's just a poster.
Yeah.
So a few what people miss as honorable mentions. So The Big Sick for Best Picture, Camille Spolnata, Holly Rocket Man, Taron Egerton Best Actor. That's true. Alan Silvestri, The Back to the Future, Hans Zimmer for Pirates, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Best Documentary, Taron Egerton, Tom Hanks for Best Actor. Saving Mr. Banks, Colin Farrell. Yeah.
What's with all the Saving Mr. Banks love?
I
didn't realize anyone liked
that. I've never understood the love for that movie, but continue. Carry on.
I think Colin Farrell was very good in that film. I think he could have.
He was good, yeah. So a lot of people
James Mangold for Ford vs. Ferrari.
It's a popular one.
Beautiful Ride for Best Original Song.
Ooh, Did Sing Street get nominated for Drive It Like You Stole It?
No, that was another
Nope.
one that I almost put for best original song.
Okay.
But that got snubbed somehow. Yeah.
Oh,
Anything in the movie, like Up,
Yeah.
would have also been worth. From Sing
Yeah,
Street would have
to
been worth.
Find You, I would have been okay with that. Yeah.
The Farewell, someone mentioned that earlier.
Aquafina, yeah. I read that.
And also the movie itself. Something like Police Story. Jackie Chan.
Police Story.
Sure.
Hey, it's one of those. And yeah, I believe, and I think Umbrella Schamberg didn't get nominated for anything, which it's like,
Okay.
Yeah,
would
one
be
best picture called La La Land. No, I did win best picture.
Yeah, and everything from Portrait of a Light, the Fire, George C. Scott, Doctor Strangelove, and I think that's it.
They got a best supporting nom. Sorry, I was. Never mind.
I think that's it. I don't
I would have taken that out for
anymore.
Lawrence Fishburne. No, that's just
No,
about it. And then which?
One last one. Woodstock, the documentary.
Oh yeah.
The most recent one?
No, 1917.
No. The original.
Okay. All right. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's okay. I mean, it's entertaining, but Oscar? I don't know. Anyways, Tony, what's coming up on the channel here?
Yep. So Sunday, feature presentation movie trivia is back. We did one last Sunday, but new one is up this Sunday, so that should be fun. The sign-up sheet is still available until end of day tomorrow. So that's it. There's no multiple choice maelstrom this month, just because I've not had time to write it. So we'll roll over the next month, all that jazz, and a ton of stuff. Digestion Cinema, the Kurt Kalikowski was on to talk about the Marx Brothers and Night at the Opera. That's a movie that didn't get nominated, but should have. And next week they are doing Minority Report with Corey Quinto, which is a very interesting conversation. And that's it. And yeah, please like, subscribe if you haven't already. As we said, the next week we are off. But the week after, we will announce what the tech topic is. Fucking, here we are. About 2 or 3 months ago, Bill Cariola told us that he had an idea.
Should we have him do it next week?
That's a scary sentence right there. Bill had an idea.
Bill has an idea, and it's terrifying. But he has an idea for a no prep
We don't
challenge.
know. Yeah, we don't know what it is. I made sure he didn't tell us, so that if we participated, that we wouldn't have any sort of leg up on the matter.
If he's still not on vacation, 2 week time, Bill Cariola presents his no prep challenge. There we go. Sorted.
Yeah, because we've been slacking on putting together September topics. We will get to it by week's end, hopefully. But yeah, off next week, so we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. So for myself, for Rue, who had to peace out early, Scott, Henry, and Tony, we'll see you in 2 weeks, something like that. Yeah, have fun till then. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
That was
Awesome.
I thought it reeked.
Who's winning?
Let's see who wins.
You're gonna win.
Nothing personal. It's really gonna matter.
Tune in next week.
You see what happens?
Brand new.
Episode?
Fantasy
Film.
fight.
Doesn't matter who wins because they're all losers.